everyone. My name is Obaseki, reporting from Toronto, Canada. Today we have a guest from the Edo State government, a lawyer and a senior special assistant on public affairs for the governor of Edo State, Barrister Andrew Adaze Amwanta, all the way from Benin City. Hello, Barrister.
Yeah, good evening, Nekme. It's a pleasure to be on your program, and good evening to our viewers across the world.
Thank you for joining us today. We have been waiting for you to appear on this show. Finally, thank you. Thank you so much. So how is everything going in Edo State today?
Yeah, very well. The governor has moved his campaign to Edo South, and it has been fantastic. He was at Ikpobaoka today, and you know Ikpobaoka is part of Benin City, one of the 3 local governments in Benin City. Yeah. And we had a very rousing reception from the people, and the governor was able to sell his campaign agenda to the people of Obaseki local government.
It's good.
And you know the refinery is in Lubu, so that's the local government that houses the Edo State refinery, first of its kind in the South.
Yes, I know that.
The oil refinery.
Yeah, but today something happened in Edo State today. Okay, former APC aspirant Chief Josie Seniki was appointed as INEC resident electoral commissioner in Edo State. So how will that impact this upcoming election?
Yeah, that's not actually that the man has just been appointed. The man has been there for quite some time now as the Edo State resident electoral commissioner. Yes, they may say that he has partisan membership, or rather he's a member of the APC.
Yeah.
But to the extent that the INEC resident electoral commissioner, it is too late in the day for anybody, because the impression they are giving is that the PDP is against the man's continuing, as in that we don't want him to continue in office as the resident electoral commissioner. But I think it's dangerous because we are not sure the person they will bring to replace him. So what's the guarantee that the person that will come will not come with a script? So as far as I know, this is a man that they said was appointed as a state resident electoral commissioner far back in January. So between January and now, a whole lot of things have happened. He was in Cross River State. From Cross River, he was posted to Edo. So it's sad that the Senate confirmed his appointment without looking at these issues. So I don't think, for me, it's a serious issue that will affect the outcome of the election, because he's just one out of many. The chairman of INEC is there. We have national commissioners that will come for that election. So the problem we will have will be those that will come from outside, not the resident electoral. Importantly, the civil society should be vigilant. That's what I will say, vigilance.
Okay, some Obaseki supporters had outrage over this appointment. They believe that it will impact this upcoming election, given that it's from the APC.
Federal government is an APC government, so we cannot say Buhari should resign as president of Nigeria because he's the commander-in-chief. What we expect is a level playing field for all the political parties. Even if this present
network is
concerned, is carrying of many, because the resident electoral commissioner is one out of how many persons that will be involved in this process. University lecturers will be involved. We expect the university lecturers to act with the high sense of professionalism. Youth corpers will be involved. We expect them to act with the highest sense of, to allow free, fair, and credible. Those are the 3 things we expect.
Okay. There are complaints over the issues of federal might in Edo State. Some people allege that the federal government sends security operatives to the state. Is that true? Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear.
Oh, okay. Now, hello, this network problem, maybe we'll call Onome to come back with her cell phone. Because the
No, I can hear you. I can hear you loud and clear. If you can
you can hear me, but I cannot hear you because of the network here.
Very well.
Okay. Yeah, you can hear
No,
me.
you
Okay.
just keep talking. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I said there are complaints over the issues of federal might in Edo State. Some people even allege that the federal government sent security operatives to the state. Is that true?
You know, it has been the same song of Adaze and their supporters that because the federal government is an APC one, there's this tendency of using the police and other security agencies to influence the process of the election. And remember, there was a meeting Osomole had recently at the villa, and unfortunately, he made a very nasty remark asking the chief of staff to the president that some person should be arrested. And unfortunately, that act has been given some form of affirmative action because some members of the PDP were recently arrested on trumped-up charges. And as we speak, there's a fundamental right action that was filed. And I think by now the court would have granted bail to those persons who were arrested. So we expect the president as commander-in-chief not to allow the threats that Osomole has made to be made good, because he's the father of the country. This is not war, it is an election. The police is meant to provide security, to protect lives and property. So the police should not be used wrongly in influencing the election. And at the end, we don't want a situation where the police will assist thugs in fomenting or in unleashing violence on the Edo people. Edo people are willing to come out to vote, and the man that they have decided to vote for or to re-elect is Godwin Obaseki. So we expect this process to be free, fair, and credible, because the governor has done so well that people are just out there waiting to do one thing on September 19th to re-elect the governor.
But the governor himself was complaining of a lack of security in the state. If there are issues of a lack of security right now, don't you think it will affect the election, especially the election day?
I don't think it is correct to say lack of security, because of course there's security already in the state. That's why you have the police and other security agencies. The problem is neutrality. Will these security agencies be neutral? Would they, as a matter of professional duty, do what is right? So those are the concerns that we have. It's not that we don't have their security. We have more than enough policemen. Even normally during elections, they will normally mobilize police officers from neighboring states. So it's not just a case of security or its lack, but the issue of partiality that we are gradually seeing in the way and manner things are being done. I can give just one example to make that point clear. The other to give security to some renegade members of the House of Assembly to invade the premises of the District House of Assembly. That was not right. It was an act of partisanship on the part of the Attorney General. Though the police, to a very large extent, to date, have refused to prosecute those individuals, those former members who invaded the House. But the Attorney General of Edo is in court to compel the police by one of another mandamus. And just early this week, I was in court with the Attorney General of Edo State. The court has granted us permission to bring order, to commence mandamus proceedings against the Commissioner of Police in order for him to investigate and prosecute those persons involved in that invasion. Because in Nigeria, we have a constitutional democracy, so things must be done according to law and order.
Okay. We saw on the news recently that members of the House of Assembly conducted what Governor Obaseki considered to be illegal inauguration in a private residence in Edo State.
Not seven.
17. 17 members of a House of Assembly.
Point of correction, it is just 3 of them that are members. Those 14 other persons who came to join the 3, their seats have been declared vacant. And when you don't have a seat in the House of Assembly, you cannot say you are a member. What makes you a member is the seats you have in the Assembly. Can you say you are a member of the Catholic Church if you are not a baptized or a confirmed Catholic? you can only be a visitor to the church. What makes you a member? There are some conditions that must be fulfilled. It's like a student who scored 200 in JAM and claim because he applied to go to Uniben, he's not a student of Uniben. It is not just for you to say you scored 200, you must also write what they call the post-UME or post-UTME, organized by the University of Benin. And after that, you have to also go through the clearance process of the University of Benin. So what those people had in their election was a certificate of return, which to date, they are not presented to the clerk. And because they were away for 181 days, their seats were declared vacant last year. When their seats were declared vacant, INEC was invited to organize the elections. So they rushed to court, suing the speaker and INEC. And that matter is still in court. So it was sad when they tried invading the house and they could not. They now went to Israel's house, Israel's president.
Oh, it was conducted.
To organize what we call a Nollywood movie.
But he denied
so
the allegation.
We are waiting for the cinema to release that movie.
But he denied that.
But
he denied the allegation that the inauguration was not conducted in his
respect. That, for me, was an act of and a coup d'etat.
So, and Governor Obaseki said, coup d'etat, yeah. Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay.
Yeah, loud and clear.
So, right now, the 17 members of the House of Assembly, they consider themselves as the authentic members of House of Assembly. Even Eze Yamu, during his visit to President Muhammadu Buhari, says that Governor Obaseki cannot form a quorum in the House of Assembly because he has only 7 members. That APC is maintaining 17 members in the House. How will that affect Governor Obaseki?
And you know, it's sad that I'm discussing this thing because this is a matter that was in court. Those seats were declared vacant. And of course, the matter is still in court. I cannot be talking about what Izeamu said. If Izeamu said they killed somebody and the person is not dead, does that make that, you know, what is right? The moment you do what is wrong, there's an offense attached to killing, which is murder. If you have a house that has been properly inaugurated and some persons refuse to come and their seats are declared vacant, they go to Izeamu's house to act a movie. And at the end, Izeamu is making reference to that movie. We cannot take that serious. Were you not aware of the same meeting he had with Kabaka and the others where they said they are lions and tigers and he told them how they should move from unit to unit and the polling unit to polling unit, from ward to ward, local government to local government. And that same Izeamu came out to deny that he didn't make that statement. So people like that, we don't take them serious.
Yeah, he denied the allegation. Not allegation, because he was there in the video. Even the blind can see, but he denied it. Okay, let's move forward with what is going on in Edo State right now. Okay, let me ask the next question about the primaries that were conducted by the EPM members in Edo State. As Lemo Joshua, the chairman of APC, said, APC does not have a candidate in Edo State, that the primaries that were conducted by the EPM members is unconstitutional. Yamu emerges as the EPM candidate or APC candidate in Edo State, even though the chairman is saying that they don't have a candidate in Edo State. So we are confused. What is going on in Edo State that the APC, they lack internal democracy in the party?
You know, as we speak, this matter is in court. As a lawyer, I would not want to go into the merits or otherwise of the matter. But just for the benefit of our viewers, for them to know the facts, I will not talk about the merits because it's a matter that the court will soon give a decision on. It was their chairman, before they had the so-called primaries they say they had, that came all out to say, because they had problem concerning the leadership of the party. Adams Oshomole was removed by members of his ward 10, Itako West, and that suspension was later upheld by court in March this year. And of course, he was removed from office, and the president now intervened. There was a political solution. So the matter at the Court of Appeal, which of course was taken there by Oshomole, was stayed pending resolution at the National Executive Committee level, which of course could not hold because the president now said they should go into something like a gentleman agreement. Oshomole had promised that he would be of good conduct. He will ensure that the primary process was free, fair, and credible, and that the governors of Edo and Ondo will be given the right of first refusal. But unfortunately, Oshomole, who made that promise, later reneged, went as far as disqualifying the governor, set up a kangaroo committee that disqualified the governor, even without the NEC meeting to ratify the primary process. So it was the disqualification of the governor that now created the tension that made it possible for all parties to go back to the original plan, which was for the court to decide whether or not Oshomole's suspension was valid. And of course, the matter went back to the courts. The matter was in court. Parties went back to the court, and the court said Oshomole was properly removed. At that point, Victor Gildo, who was acting chairman, now stepped in. While he was chairman, a ragtag group led by one Hiladeta said that he was chairman of the party. He went ahead to set up a committee, and they did what they call the primaries, which, of course, Victor Gildom said was null and void, that he's a chairman, and that he had invited persons to come for screening. It was only Matthew Dukemen that went for the screening. He wrote INEC that they have not done primaries, and from INEC, they will fix a date for primaries. The following week, he called for a NEC meeting, and unfortunately, at that their NEC meeting, they now ratified the primaries that did not hold. They had the opportunity of organizing the primaries, but they did not, before they now set up a caretaker committee. So these are matters that are in court. If the chairman said they didn't have primaries, can a man who was not chairman organize primaries for the party? So it is what the court will decide. And that's not the only issue. There are different matters challenging his qualification. Because he said he was a courtist, he didn't say so in his law school form. And they're asking the court to disqualify him because those were the documents he presented. His deputy governor presented about 6 names in different qualifications. That was what happened in Bayelsa. That was why, even when the APC candidates were, the Supreme Court said because the candidates had discrepancy in his name, victory was given to PDP. So these matters are in court. We have about 7 different cases that are in court, challenging both the primaries and the qualification of both Izeyamu and the running mates. Kadea Audu, that has about 6 names. 6 different names.
What a drama going on.
That's not the point. That's not the point, because the governor will still defeat Izeyamu and his running mates. I mean, the governor and his deputy, as candidates of PDP, they will defeat Izeyamu and his running mates under a free, fair, and credible election by more than 80%. I'm assuring you. Because I know people were not going to allow them to win this election, because we're going to be very vigilant.
Okay. Some people also say, especially the Obaseki supporters, that even though Izeyamu is declared as the winner of this upcoming election, the court will still disqualify him because APC does not have a candidate in Edo State.
It's not called before the elections. We are going to defeat them. But by the time we defeat them and the court say they don't have a valid candidate or they need no valid primaries, it will be of no moment, because already the victory of PDP would have been recorded by INEC. And I can tell you that Edo people want Governor Obaseki back. That is just a summary of all I'm saying. The governor has done very well across all the sectors, and the social contract with Edo people, by the grace of God, will be renewed come September 19th, which is just less than a month from today.
So how can Governor Obaseki win over federal government, the federal minds in the state, and maintain free and fair election in the state? That is what many people are afraid of.
I don't like when you talk about federal minds. In a democracy, where the sovereignty lies with the people. Section 14, sub 2